A record 2.5 million acres have burned in California, and entire areas of Oregon and Washington have been burned as well. There are at least 8 deaths that are being reported, and there have been many people who have gone missing. And the Bear Fire has destroyed structures all over California. Evacuation warnings have been put in place in Pasadena. These images that have gone viral of the fires throughout California, Oregon, and Washington have just been stunning. Orange skies everywhere, ash all over people's cars. And as I mentioned earlier, at least 8 people in Oregon, California, and Washington are dead as a result of the devastating wildfires ravaging the West Coast, and the destruction and death toll are only anticipated to get worse, according to Oregon Governor Kate Brown. South of Oregon, the Golden State sky is eerily orange and red as it battles its own destructive wildfires. There are more than 24 active fires in California. And California Governor Gavin Newsom said the viral images of an orange sky in San Francisco and other parts of the state are a cry out for change. He said to help prevent future wildfires, all levels of government must step up to fight climate change. So these are some of the images that Gavin Newsom shared. You guys can see how just bleak that is. I mean, it looks like we're the Dune trailer or another Denis Villeneuve movie. But this is reality under the constant threat of climate change. And Sunrise LA did tweet out a response to Gavin Newsom. He said, yeah, vote you out of office because we're S blank out of luck with you in office. We need a GND, Green New Deal champion, not you. So strong words for Gavin Newsom. We also saw President Obama tweeted about the threat of climate change, and a lot of lefties responded, well, you could have done more when you were president, as opposed to just kind of these tweaks around the edges, entering into the Paris Accord. Obviously, what I'm encouraged by is that Joe Biden did put Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashini Prakash, and other Sunrise Movement activists on his climate change panel. And his proposal is not bad. It doesn't ban fracking, he's emphatic about that. But there are good elements there. And the contrast between him and Donald Trump, specifically on this issue, is quite stark.
Yeah, and I think when you look at Joe Biden is ahead of the game on this. He did listen to people. He has Jay Inslee's endorsement. So in Democratic elected officialdom, I think Jay Inslee is one of the models right now. Ocasio-Cortez, as a congresswoman, doesn't have as much say. Of course, her voice goes farther than most people in America. But when Jay Inslee endorses what you're doing on climate from a presidential campaign standpoint, I think it's great. It's not about necessarily for me looking back and saying what Obama didn't do. He certainly didn't pull us out of an accord. He kept us in and brought us into a conversation globally about climate, acknowledged its presence. And this is something that is as an issue, Al Gore was the first to talk about it. He talked about the environment loudly from that podium. He talked about it as a candidate. He sort of gave his life to it. But even he said that it wasn't an issue until that climate was not an issue until it is an issue, until you can feel it. So as we feel it from Katrina forward to these fires, to other floods and fires that we've experienced over the years, now we're almost numb to it with hurricanes starting in July in devastating ways, tropical storms being formed, cyclones in Asia and the southern hemisphere, tropical storms here in our hemisphere. These sorts of things are starting to make people feel it on a daily basis in their backyard. That's important for any issue. Gore knew it then. He said it's going to start happening. We're ahead of the game now, and we just have to keep up with the game. It seems like Joe Biden's doing as much as he can as a candidate to keep up with the game. You're not going to get perfection. You're not going to, hear somebody campaign for a ban on fracking and win the presidency in Pennsylvania when fracking is now creating so many jobs in Pennsylvania. It's just not sound politics, but you can meet it. It's not sound politics yet, and for this election, for this candidate, but you certainly can meet it in less of a way than Biden did. And he went even further than many people thought he was going to go, not just with people, but with policy. I think that's pretty encouraging.
I mean, I think I would disagree just in terms of I think you can provide an alternative vision via Green New Deal for job creation that is going to be more long lasting. I hear what you're saying, but the thing about it,
you know what, Emma, and I'm not arguing. This is more about job elimination, though, and there you can't. I agree with you. I agree that there are other.
Though.
What's that? But what I'm saying is that the fracking, a ban on fracking, would eliminate so many people in the Mahoning Valley of Ohio and in Western Pennsylvania. It would eliminate jobs. It's a hard sell to make. Job creation through a Green New Deal, I totally agree with you. And that's a sound and impressive way to get rid of fracking and then use the Green New Deal to create jobs. But you have to make it so it's not just a net loss at the beginning. And when you're running for president in a finite period of time and you have people whose votes you need in a state that the Democrats lost last time, there's certain things that you can mess with and certain things not to. It doesn't mean he's going to be right. He may not win Pennsylvania. He may have been wrong in not being a good leader about it. But in terms of the politics, I see why his campaign decided that.
No, certainly. And also, I don't necessarily believe Biden strongly feels that fracking should be banned. So what I do appreciate about Biden, in contrast to Hillary Clinton, is that even though he might be further right than her politically in some areas of her career, although she became more entrenched in the center left later in her life, I do appreciate about Biden that he's more upfront than she ever was. And I think that goes to his honesty quotient. I tried to combine quadrant and quota.
His HQ, his HQ, his honesty quotient.
Right, exactly. So I mean, but I just we're taking a climate change story and bringing it back to Biden. But I do think it's key that he did release that plan. I hope he emphasizes it more. But again, any messaging that comes out right now, it's just being drowned out by coronavirus, by Black Lives Matter, and Trump. He has no shame in lying about specific issues, like the fact that he's saying that Biden is in favor of rioting and looting, that a lot of these plans that Biden has put out there, they're not getting any traction because we're so mucked, we're so in the muck, and it's being drowned out by these obfuscations.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that when you know, look, it's hard not to bring it back to the election because it's what we're living with 54 days beforehand and how we analyze it. But you're right. I mean, there is an honesty, and there's also one thing that's good for progressives with Joe Biden is that Joe Biden, as we said earlier, or I said, and I suspect you agreed with to a degree, is he likes to be liked. Right. And so that carries a lot of weight for him. So he wants everybody to like him, which means he wants progressives to like them. He wants to give something to them to get their support and their affection. And that's a good thing to have in a president if you are trying to win him over on an issue. I don't know. I tend to agree with you. I don't know where he stands on fracking. I think he's probably not opposed to fracking, but I think he's not opposed to fracking because he's been a politician for most of his life. And he understands that in this particular election where he has to be opposed to fracking, or he feels like he has to be in favor of fracking, it's not as easy to be as opposed to fracking. But I think if it were different, he might just say, yeah, fracking's ridiculous. He's been ahead on some issues over time, and maybe this is the environment as one. And now that you see the world and California and Oregon and so many places as a tinderbox, I think that it's really it's important to realize that the next president's going to have to embrace it, certainly far more than this one has and the previous one had.
Yeah, tinderbox is an unfortunately apt description for what's happening. I hope you guys in California are staying safe out there.
Indeed.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.